Imagine looking up and seeing cars, not planes, gliding above your city, effortlessly dodging traffic. Sounds like science fiction, right? Not in China. While the world assumed flying cars were decades away, China made it real. It isn't a lab prototype, it's flying for real. For over 50 years, flying cars were just hype. Too costly, too risky. But now, that fantasy has finally taken flight, and the future has officially arrived. Meet the Xpeng X2, China's answer to that age-old dream. And it's not just a cool-looking machine, it might be the beginning of an entirely new era in transportation. The X2 isn't trying to replace your car, it's trying to fly past it. This isn't a fantasy cooked up in a Silicon Valley pitch meeting. The X2 was shown off in the middle of a real city. Skyscrapers, people, media, everything. This thing took off vertically, hovered with eerie calm, and maneuvered like a drone built for humans. No runaway blades or loud engine roars, just a smooth, silent liftoff like something from Blade Runner. And here's what shocked American engineers the most. It wasn't just how advanced the X2 looked, it was how stable it was. Precision-controlled, autonomous, and eerily smooth. Even seasoned tech journalists stood there, wide-eyed, as the machine gilded above them like a giant hovering smartphone. It uses something called VTOL, or vertical takeoff and landing. No need for a runway or open fields. This thing can launch from a rooftop. Think about what that means for urban travel. You don't need highways anymore. You just rise above it all. And get this, it's autonomous. The X2 flies itself using a mix of AI and sensors that map out obstacles and adjust in real time. No pilot's license required. That's the part where jaws hit the floor. The demo wasn't staged in some closed hangar either. It happened in one of China's most futuristic cities, packed with journalists, tech reviewers, and curious onlookers. They watched it hover and maneuver like it had a mind of its own. No one expected it to be that smooth, or that quiet. So yeah, America had its moment with electric cars. But China? They might have just won the race to flying ones. And this is just the beginning. What comes next will make today's traffic jams look like a problem from the past. But what's powering this tech? How safe is it? And will it ever be affordable? Stay tuned, because in the next segment, we're diving into the jaw-dropping features that make the X2 unlike anything else in the sky. Alright, so the Xpeng X2 isn't just a flashy drone with a cockpit, it's packed with some seriously advanced tech that puts it in a league of its own. Let's break down exactly what makes this thing so groundbreaking. First up, electric propulsion. Unlike traditional aircraft that burn tons of jet fuel, the X2 runs on electricity. That means no emissions, way less noise, and a massive boost in efficiency. It's clean, quiet, and, get this, way cheaper to operate than a gas-powered chopper. In a world moving towards sustainability, this isn't just smart, it's essential. Then there's the VTOL capability, which might be the real game changer here. The X2 doesn't need a runway. It lifts off straight up like a helicopter, then glides forward like a plane. That makes it perfect for cities. Imagine launching from the top of a parking garage or your office building. No long drives, no airport security lines, just up and go. But what takes it to another level is the autonomous navigation. You don't fly the X2, it flies you. Built-in AI uses a complex web of sensors to detect obstacles, calculate wind conditions, and find the safest path through the air. It reacts faster than any human pilot ever could. No joystick, no training, just sit back and let it handle everything. And don't worry, it's not skipping out on safety. The X2 is loaded with redundant safety systems. That means if one sensor fails, there's a backup ready to take over. In case of an emergency, the system initiates protocols that either land the vehicle safely or alert emergency responders. It's like having a co-pilot that never blinks. All of this is wrapped in a frame that's energy efficient, which lowers operating costs and makes it a realistic option for daily commutes, not just for the elite. That's what makes it disruptive. Not just cool, but doable. Now let's talk about the big picture. Why flying cars matter. First off, traffic congestion. Stuck in bumper-to-bumper gridlock? Yeah, not anymore. With vehicles like the X2, commuting happens above the chaos. Your daily grind could shrink from an hour to just 10 minutes, and because they don't rely on roads, they open up new lanes in the sky. That leads to faster commutes, sure, but also a massive shift in urban planning. Cities can finally rethink how space is used. Fewer roads mean more green parks, bike paths, or community spaces. Instead of endless concrete, imagine open plazas and nature woven into the city again. And we haven't even touched on the environmental win. The X2's all-electric build means zero emissions, less noise pollution, and no wear and tear on roads. That's sustainability from the ground up, or in this case, from the sky down. So, if you're still wondering whether flying cars are worth the hype, consider this: cleaner air, faster travel, quieter cities, and more space to live. As promising as it all sounds, flying cars aren't just going to zip into our daily lives overnight. There's still a mountain of challenges and barriers standing in the way, and they're not small. Let's start with the elephant in the room: regulations. Right now, the sky isn't some free-for-all zone where anyone can hop in and fly over a city. Countries around the world have strict air traffic laws designed for planes and helicopters, not compact autonomous air taxis. Before flying cars can scale, governments will have to rewrite major parts of aviation law. And that's a slow, careful process. Then there's the issue of public acceptance. It's one thing to see a flying car in a demo. It's another to have one cruising past your 10th floor window. People are concerned about safety, noise, and, yes, privacy. How comfortable are you knowing drones with passengers might fly above your neighborhood? These are real concerns, and they'll take time to address. And let's be honest, at least for now, this is going to be an expensive ride. Like most breakthrough tech, flying cars will start as luxury items for the ultra-wealthy. The hope is that as production scales, costs will drop. But don't expect to see one in your garage next year. On top of that, we need infrastructure. Imagine Uber without roads. Flying cars need the equivalent of sky sports, designated zones where they can take off and land. Cities will need to build those from scratch. Plus, managing a sky full of autonomous vehicles will require new kinds of things that just don't exist yet. So, yeah, it's a lot. But that's exactly what makes XPeng Motors rise so wild. Founded back in 2014, XPeng Motors started like any other EV company in China, focused on high-tech, clean energy cars. But while others were tweaking sedans, XPeng made a bold pivot. They poured their R&D into flying cars, with the X2 becoming the crown jewel of that effort. They didn't stop dreaming either. The company has global ambitions, and they're already expanding beyond China. Europe and the US are now firmly on their radar. In Europe, countries like Germany and France have started warming up to the idea. We've seen demo flights at major tech expos, and regulators are cautiously exploring how flying cars might fit into urban mobility plans. Over in the US, XPeng is eyeing Silicon Valley. Why? Because it's not just about building flying cars. It's about integrating them with smart city tech, ride-sharing apps, and AI ecosystems. And Silicon Valley is ground zero for all of that. The key? Regulatory collaboration. XPeng isn't trying to break the rules. They're working with local and national governments to write new ones. That kind of cooperation could speed things up and give them a huge head start in the global race for urban air mobility. Now, XPeng isn't the only player in the game. One of its biggest rivals? EHang, and their flagship model, the EHang 216. It's a fully autonomous air taxi with no steering wheel, no manual controls, just pure AI. That's a bold approach. EHang bets that a human pilot could be more of a liability than an asset in the air. Meanwhile, XPeng is taking a more flexible route. The X2 offers both autonomous and manual modes, giving users the choice depending on the situation. That hybrid design could make it more appealing to regulators and early users who want a sense of control. Both companies are aiming for the same thing: urban air dominance. But with different philosophies, it's going to be fascinating to watch who wins out. So, where does all this lead? If progress keeps moving at this pace, we could be looking at mainstream flying car adoption within 10 to 20 years. That's not sci-fi. That's within our lifetime. And the impact on society? Massive. Cities could be redesigned entirely, with fewer ground roads and more vertical infrastructure. Deliveries could be instant and logistics transformed. Think Amazon drones on steroids. But it's not all positive. There's also the risk of creating a new layer of social inequality, where the wealthy soar above while the rest are stuck in traffic below. Still, the future looks closer than ever. Flying cars like the Xpeng X2 and EHang 216 show the tech is real. The hurdles now aren't engineering, but regulations, infrastructure, and public perception. With China pushing forward and massive investments flowing in, it's no longer a question of possibility, it's a matter of when. The skies are opening up and the future is closer than we think. So now the question is, are you ready for the sky to become your highway? If flying cars are the future, we're standing at the edge of something incredible. What do you think? Would you trust a car that flies itself? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. The sky's no longer the limit.